What's up guys, it's me Jeremy, and I have an awesome video for everyone today. It took a ton of research and experimentation, but I'm glad to finally present my results of which summoner spells you can use under which crowd control conditions. I went through with one of my friends and tested every single summoner spell except for Revive, under every single CC condition except for slows and blinds. We didn't test Revive, slows, or blinds for obvious reasons. Revive because you can simply just use Revive when you're dead and you can't use it when you're not. And slows and blinds because you can use every single summoner spell pretty obviously while slowed or blinded, except for Revive of course. This leaves us to test the stun, suppress, silence, knockup, displacement, fear, taunt, root, and polymorph. Note that a charm functions the same as a taunt, and displacement includes anything that moves a champion, meaning pulls, knockbacks, flips, etc. We tested the summoner spells of Clarity, Ghost, Heal, Cleanse, Teleport, Barrier, Exhaust, Ignite, Clairvoyance, Flash, and Smite. Note that these were all tested while under the listed CC conditions with the sole purpose of finding out if you can activate those spells while affected by those CC conditions. We came up with some interesting results that were actually kind of unexpected, which I'll summarize at the end. And note that in our tests, if a spell becomes grayed out on the hotbar, it becomes unusable, but if it remains bright, it is still usable. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We tested things by the crowd control. So for stuns, Clarity was successful, Ghost was successful, Heal was successful, Cleanse was successful, Teleport was unsuccessful, Barrier was successful, Exhaust was successful, Ignite was successful, Clairvoyance was successful, Flash was unsuccessful, and Smite was successful. So we can see that only Teleport and Flash cannot be casted while you are stunned. Moving on to suppresses, and I'm going to speed things up a little by doing 2 summoners per clip since we have quite a bit to get through. Clarity and Ghost were unsuccessful. Cleanse and Heal were unsuccessful. Teleport and Barrier were unsuccessful. Exhaust and Ignite were unsuccessful. Clairvoyance and Flash were unsuccessful. And lastly, Smite was unsuccessful. So we can see that actually every single summoner spell cannot be casted while you are suppressed. Moving on to silences. Clarity and Ghost were successful. Heal and Cleanse were successful. Barrier was successful while Teleport was unsuccessful. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful while Flash was unsuccessful, and Smite was successful. So we can see that similar to stuns, you can use every single summoner spell except for Flash and Teleport while affected by a silence. Now moving on to knockups. Clarity and Ghost were successful. Heal was successful while Teleport remained unsuccessful. Barrier and Cleanse were successful, but Cleanse did not remove the knockup. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful, but Flash was unsuccessful. And Smite was successful. So we can see that you can use every summoner spell except for Flash and Teleport while affected by a knockup. But note that cleansing and knockup does nothing for the CC effect that it has. Now moving on to displacements, and we had to go back to doing 1 summoner spell per clip because of the issue of reaction timing. Clarity was successful. Ghost was successful. Heal was successful. Cleanse was successful but did not remove the displacement effect. Teleport was unsuccessful. Barrier was successful. Exhaust was successful. Ignite was successful. Clairvoyance was successful. Flash was unsuccessful. And Smite was successful. So we can see that similar to knockups, every summoner spell except for Flash and Teleport can be used while affected by a displacement. But once again, note that cleansing a displacement does nothing for the CC effect that it has. Now moving on to fears, we were able to go back to testing 2 summoners per clip once again. Clarity and Ghost were successful. Heal and Cleanse were successful. Barrier was successful while Teleport remained unsuccessful. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful while Flash was unsuccessful. And Smite was successful. So we can see that you can use every summoner spell except for Flash and Teleport once again while affected by a fear. Now moving on to taunts. Clarity and Ghost were successful. Heal and Cleanse were successful. Teleport and Barrier were successful. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful while Flash remained unsuccessful. And Smite was successful. So we can see that incredibly, unlike any other CC conditions, only Flash cannot be used while affected by a taunt. Notably, you can teleport while being taunted. Now moving on to roots, or snares, whatever you want to call them. Clarity and Heal were successful. Ghost and Cleanse were successful. Barrier was successful while Teleport was unsuccessful. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful while Flash remained unsuccessful. And lastly, Smite was successful. So we can see that you can use every summoner spell except for Teleport and Flash while affected by a root. Now moving on to polymorphs. Clarity and Ghost were successful. Heal and Cleanse were successful. Barrier was successful while Teleport remained unsuccessful. Exhaust and Ignite were successful. Clairvoyance was successful while Flash was unsuccessful. And Smite was successful. So once again, we can see that you can use every summoner spell except for Teleport and Flash while under a polymorph. Alright, now let's go over the results of the experimentation. The first notable thing is that not a single summoner spell was usable while under Suppress. The next is that you can actually teleport while affected by a taunt. Also, Cleanse can be used during a knockup or displacement, but it does not actually remove the CC affecting you. And the last is the most applicable, in that with the exception of a Suppress, you can use every summoner spell except for Teleport and Flash while under hard CC. Most importantly, you can Smite while affected by these CC conditions. Now, I want to make an important mention for a concept that I discovered after going over the recorded footage, which you might have actually noticed if you were watching closely. From looking at these clips frame by frame, you can see that after about 3/4 of any hard CC effect has expired, all spells are no longer grayed out on the hotbar, even though you are still CC'd. Note that this 3/4 was of course a rough estimate, and the sources of the time being different was likely due to latency, but upon further testing this was just determined to be a visual thing, and you still remain CC'd for that last fourth of the duration. So, in conclusion, next time you get CC'd, use your summoner spells. That time spent not doing anything in a fight due to CC could be used in a much better way, where you can actually contribute to the fight by using summoners, despite being crowd controlled. Alright, that's it for my video on which summoner spells you can use under which CC conditions. I'd love it if you could support me with a like or some feedback in the comments, and if you have any questions, I would absolutely love to see you in the comments too. Also, I've made a Twitter and a Facebook page, so I'll have links in the description if you want to follow me on those. Please subscribe for more awesome content in the future if you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.